stems from a game of hot potato. Device makers sell machines to special distributors. Those vendors sell them to retailers, and no one thinks it's their job to update the master code. So, methinks Target and Home Depot might get hacked again. We'll be back after this 3-minute break with the Power Hour. Stay tuned. This is Joyce Riley.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
What are you listening to? Have you tried the Power Hour 24/7 listen line? It's easy. Just punch in 605-562-6121. No apps, no data, no internet needed, and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call now, 605-562-6121. Now you can listen to the Power Hour when you want. Bookmark the Power Hour 24/7 listen line number today, 605-562-6121. Got it? Call 605-562-6121.
We've all heard about antibiotics, but what about probiotics? Antibiotic means against life. Probiotic means pro-life. Antibiotics kill bacteria that are infectious and harmful to the body. They also kill the good bacteria, though, that are necessary for good health. Probiotics from living streams replaces the healthy balance of friendly bacteria and normalizes the digestive tract. Gastritis, ulcers, diarrheal diseases, just a few of the problems people develop when the intestinal flora is out of balance. Living Stream's probiotics create the healthy balance needed for good digestion, suppresses growth of pathogenic bacteria, and actually increases resistance to infection. Call the Power Hour, 877-817-9829. Order your Living Stream probiotics today. They're available in 2, 4, and 8-ounce bottles, and Living Stream's probiotics comes with a money-back guarantee. Get your body back in balance with Living Stream's probiotics today. 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829. Living Stream's probiotics. Everyone should be pro-life.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realists, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Thank you for joining us, caring about your world. There's a patient with an extreme form of TB that has now been sent to the NIH hospital. It's called antibiotic-resistant TB, and it's bad. You remember the guy, the attorney, Andrew Speaker, that was placed in NIH about 3 years ago because his TB was so bad they had to incarcerate him? Well, now they've got a second one, a woman who, by the way, has been to Missouri, spent time in Missouri. She also came from India, has been traveling all over the United States. Now she's the one that is being placed in NIH, and they say it'll take years to treat her. My question is, what? Years to treat her? Do they really care about this woman that much? Or is this another experiment that's going on? How many nations in the world, major nations, do not have a central bank? Well, according to Economic Collapse, one. That's North Korea. 99.9% of the population has a central bank. And Nitro, West Virginia. Whoa. Monsanto has been ordered to pay $93 million for poisoning the residents there with Agent Orange. That's a Global Research story. Earlier this month, the state Supreme Court of West Virginia dealt a huge blow to the biotech company, ordering it to pay this $93 million little prize to the town of Nitro, West Virginia, for poisoning the local citizens with Agent Orange chemicals. Approved last year, the details were only recently worked out a few weeks ago as to how the funds would be dispersed. In order to receive benefits outlined in the settlement, residents of Nitro still need to fill out a register, and due to the serious importance of this landmark case, residents in the area are urged to participate as fully as possible to set a precedent for other class action suits that farmers and consumers of GMO foods around the world might ignite against Monsanto in the future. There you got it. Nitro, West Virginia. $93 million. Did you know that hackers can now compromise medical pumps to administer fatal doses of drugs? Oh, that's what we need to know, right? And the feds now can charge you for clearing your internet search history. According to Sputnik News, under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, people are being prosecuted for deleting files or clearing their browser histories. What? So you're supposed to let it just like fill up to where you don't have any space? I don't get it. Anyway, you can be prosecuted for deleting files, clearing your browser history. Up to 20 years in prison. 13-year-old act was written into law, Sarbanes-Oxley, in 2002 following the Enron scandal. The aim of the federal legislation was primarily to prohibit corporations under federal investigations from shredding or destroying incriminating documents. But since the law doesn't require suspects to know they're under investigation, Sarbanes-Oxley has cast a much wider net than it seemingly intended. I'm just telling you. Gardasil vaccine survivors in Ireland are launching a support group. It's so bad. And BPA-lined containers hike your blood pressure immediately. So if you're drinking beer out of a BPA-lined container, danger, red flag, your blood pressure can go up immediately. Or sodas, or whatever else you're drinking out of. 12 signs your pet is too hot. Do you know what they are? 12. We'll be back after this 1 minute, 10-second break. Stay tuned to the Power Hour. This is Joyce Riley.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay.
Every Thursday night at 7 on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 55 years. Carpet Masters uses extraction cleaning for your carpet because there's no better cleaning to remove the soil from your carpet. All of our furniture cleaning is done by hand in your home or in our plant. Carpet Masters also offers dry cleaning for fine furniture. Call Carpet Masters at 793-7215. That's 793-7215 for Carpet Masters.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Good morning, I'm Chuck Kamlick, CNBC Radio. The Dow and the S&P 500 start the day at their lowest level in 2 months. They might move sideways today. That's what GM stock has done now for 5 years. $35 this morning, $33 when it went public in 2010. GM meets with investors today. They're going to want to know how the company plans to get that stock moving on up. Fiat Chrysler thinks it knows how. It wants to merge with GM and is asking hedge funds and others to help convince CEO Mary Barra that it would be a good deal. HSBC is cutting 50,000 jobs worldwide, but the bank will hire more U.S. workers for compliance. American Airlines flew more passengers and made more money per seat mile in May, but there were also more seats. American said that could cut revenues for the quarter by up to 8%. And Hewlett-Packard will pay $100 million to settle a class action suit involving its acquisition of Autonomy a few years ago. That deal did not pan out as hoped, and some investors lost money. Chuck Kamlick, CNBC Radio.
Have you had trouble with online dating? This is eHarmony founder Dr. Neil Clark Warren. We've created a new solution, EH Plus. EH Plus combines the personal attention of a matchmaker with eHarmony's extensive pool of great singles. EH Plus gives you hand-selected matches and freedom from being online. Get started today. Call 855-930-LOVE. That's 855-930-LOVE.
Your local pharmacist is also a Health Mart pharmacist, and they're not like other pharmacists.
After Mom's surgery, I was overwhelmed, but I was so relieved. Her Health Mart pharmacist was there to help. They explained her medication and even delivered to her house. Mom got the personal service she needed, and I got something even better. Peace of mind.
Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Good morning, it's 6:02, checking out traffic and weather. Temps will be in the 80s and 90s today. Lots of humidity, and boy and how. And chances for rain in some parts of Southern California. A little bit of a sprinkle thing coming down as I was coming in today. LA and Orange County, you'll see temps in the upper 80s with a 30% chance for rain. Beaches, morning clouds and temps in the mid-70s. High desert communities will be cloudy with a high of 92 and a chance of showers Monday. Mountains will be cloudy. Chance for thunderstorms and a high of 66. Currently, it's a very muggy 78 degrees at the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA. Checking out traffic. Corona, we've got stop-and-go traffic on the 91. Between McKinley and Lincoln Avenue, that's kind of slow there. In Corona, a disabled vehicle on the 91 at the 91 just before Green River Road. And in Devore, we've got an accident in the left lane on I-215 northbound at Devore Road. That's traffic and weather together at the only station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA AM 1050.
An area man thinks his insurance company is awesome. It's the Onion Radio News. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Tony Calford, who recently purchased a health policy from the State Farm Insurance Corporation, told reporters today that State Farm is, quote, pretty much the coolest. Friends have tried to tell him that it's just another insurance company, but Calford says otherwise.
If something were to happen to me, State Farm would totally have my back. And that's a good feeling.
A recent house fire only strengthened Calford's opinion of the insurance provider when his agent Stan Terrence personally carried him and his family out of the burning building. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
In AgNet West today, more on the WTO's ruling in favor of the U.S. and why it's significant after this.
As an almond grower, you can control damaging insect pests like navel orangeworm and peach twig borer late season. All it takes is the reliable, consistent protection of DuPont Altacore Insect Control. Apply Altacore beginning at early hull split for fast-acting, long-lasting protection without secondary pest problems. You'll get maximum yield, plus the shortest re-entry interval and a short PHI of only 10 days. Ask your DuPont retailer about Altacore. Always read and follow label directions. Some years, a growing season can seem like a wild roller coaster. Other years, you're just trying to get over one small hump after another. No matter what the ride is like, DuPont Crop Protection is right by your side with the very latest products to support California growers. From herbicides to insecticides and fungicides, DuPont has you covered. Weather, bugs, and disease don't let you know what their plans are in advance. That's why it pays to have DuPont on your side all season long. Always read and follow label directions.
The World Trade Organization again sided with the U.S. on claims that a ban by India on some of our ag exports does not comply with WTO trade rules. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack explains the importance of the World Trade Organization ruling in the context of science-based trade rules.
We've always been very consistent in the approach that, whether it's through a trade agreement or through the WTO, that it's important and necessary for any requirement that's placed on exports that it be consistent with sound science, that it be consistent with international rules and regulations. I think this victory could very well send a message that you just can't have bans on products that aren't based on international standards, that aren't based on a proper risk assessment process and measurement. So I think it's a strong validation of the approach we've been taking at the U.S. and hopefully will allow us to potentially make it a little bit easier to knock down these barriers.
Again, Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack. I'm Sabrina Hill for AgNetWest.com.
Market Wrap host Mo Ansari discusses the benefits of holistic wealth management.
You need somebody to hold your hand, guide you through the ups and downs of the stock market, the economy, and all the zigs and zags of life. That's why we created the wealth management solution, where we take the holistic approach and look at everything that you've got, not just trying to buy that one stock at the very bottom, sell it at the very top, buy those 2 annuities and 2 REITs and call me in 10 years sort of a thing. No, we do it step by step, day by day. It's a process, and we work with you all along the way.
If you're ready for some help, call Compact Asset Management at 800-388-9700 and schedule your free consultation with Mo Ansari to learn about his holistic approach to wealth management. Call 800-388-9700. That's 800-388-9700.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
Controlled? Well, maybe. Chaos? Definitely. Tune in weekday mornings, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. for Controlled Chaos with Gary Garver, Jigga, Dave, and Mary Tonga. KCAA, 1050 a.m. You have to hear it to believe it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And what a delightfully happy song this morning. Absolutely love it.
Is that Jump?
No. Keep listening, Name of this song. I forgot the name of this song. Okay, so we have to ask Bill.
No?
No, he says no. It's a great song, though.
It is. At first, it sounded like that song "Jump" from
No.
the 80s.
It came out before. It came out before Jump.
Okay.
Steve Winwood, and I've forgotten the name of the song. Isn't it Steve Winwood? I'm getting a thumbs up.
You're much better with music than I am. You're right. Fun music.
Fun music. It's very happy. So I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050.
I'm on the brink of waking up this morning.
You're supposed to be awake. We're on the air.
You know, some days, and I don't know if this happens to our listeners or not, but there are some days where you just feel like when you wake up in the morning, like you just didn't get enough sleep, and it just hangs over your head.
Do you know what it is? It was the oppressive heat yesterday.
Yeah.
And we took a step outside, and it was drizzling, and it felt like Texas.
Yes.
Texas in the springtime. And I'm originally from Texas. I got a lot of family who's still in Texas, and it feels like Texas in spring.
I wouldn't mind a little Texas-sized rain, though.
Big gloppy rain?
Hey, we could use the rain.
We could, although I could do without the West Texas storms.
Yeah, we don't need the flooding, but just give us some rain.
And we don't need the lightning, and we don't need tornadoes.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm just saying that I don't feel like I slept well last night. I'm just tired today. It's weird. It's like that kind of,
Well, there's coffee.
There is coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker,
No,
though.
you need to drink coffee.
No.
It'll wake you up.
I don't need the caffeine. I'm going to drink my agua, my water.
Well, before we get started, I want to let everybody know, as I always do, all the ways you can listen to KCAA AM 1050, a CNBC News affiliate radio station. You can find us at 1050 on the AM dial. You can also find us at kcaaradio.com, where you'll find links to all of our social media and where you can interact with us. We love it when you do. Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I think I got everything. No, YouTube. You can also watch our embedded Ustream feed that's right on our homepage, or you can click through and watch on Ustream itself. If you have a flip phone or a home phone and no radio and you want to call to listen, you can do that at 832-999-1050. That is 832-999-1050. If you're heading into LA and OC and you want to listen to us all the way in to work and all the way throughout the day, listen to us on your iPhone using the TuneIn app or on your Android device at KCAA Express Kcaa-Mornings.com. We have a fantastic show for you today. We're going to be talking with Leslie Mancunian, who is an award-winning documentary producer, an activist, and honorary board member at the Weston A. Price Foundation. She's going to be talking to us about SB 277, which is the bill that would require people to have their children vaccinated in order for them to attend school.
Force people to get their kids vaccinated, and if the parents don't do it, then they're locked up in chains and publicly shamed, and the kids are not allowed to go to school.
Really? Are you going to?
And there's just all kinds of horrible things that happen.
Would you stop?
A little hyperbole,
little hyperbole.
A little over the top.
Little over the top. Okay. And then we'll be following by Bina Kamlani, but talking about the renowned award-winning artist Saul Bellow. June 10th, 2015 marks the centennial of the birth of Saul Bellow, and so Penguin Classics is going to be publishing a couple of his two of his Nobel Prize-winning most important novels. So.
Nice. Before we get started with our guest, though, I just want to make a quick announcement. I meant to do this yesterday. Some of you may have heard the story about the American soldiers that went down in the helicopter that were flying a relief mission in Nepal.
Yes.
And one of them is a local guy, and his body is being returned. And I just want to make sure people know about this because they really are trying to sort of get people rallied around for this. So let me just give you some of the information. The city of Murrieta has updated the route in town, and residents will be lining Colima and Washington up to Murrieta Valley Funeral Home at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday.
That's tomorrow.
And they're
asking people to bring a candle.
Bring a candle or flashlight or your smartphone or something. American flags, obviously. No laser lights. And so this is a procession to welcome home an American hero. It's going to take place on Wednesday, and they want the public to come out and show your respect for Sergeant Eric Seaman, who is brought home by motorcade, led by members of the Patriot Guard and American Legion Chapter 852. So
we will post details on our social media.
We will, and I just want to make sure we show some respect for this gentleman. So thank you.
So our guest, Leslie Mancunian, is on the line with us today. Like I said before, she is an award-winning documentarian and an honorary board member with the Weston A. Price Foundation. Welcome to the show, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Erin. Thanks for having me. And can I just say, it's Manukian.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
You're not the only one who does that. Lots of people swap this.
And if I look at how it's spelled Manukian. So forgive me.
No worries. Lots of people do it. It happens all the time.
Gosh. Mm-hmm. So tell us about your work with SB 277.
Well, as your listeners probably know, SB 277 is a bill that would remove all non-medical exemptions to vaccinations in the state of California. This is purportedly in response to the measles outbreak that began in Disneyland earlier this year. And I'm strongly opposed to it, and so is the Weston Price Foundation, of which I'm an honorary board member, as you mentioned, for the simple reason that we should be free to decide what we put into our bodies. And if the government is telling us how to live in terms of, how we keep ourselves well, then we believe that the government has gone too far, essentially. And the reason that we say that is because there are so many other ways to keep ourselves healthy, and because, although we're told in the mainstream media very often that vaccines are completely safe and completely effective, that's simply not the case. It's not as black and white as that. Vaccines do cause harm to some recipients, and there are other ways to stay well. So that's essentially the gist of it. And that bill is going to be heard in the Assembly Health Committee today at 1:30 and voted on. And if it passes, then the next step may be to remove the right for adults to exempt themselves to vaccines as well, not just children. And right now there are 270 vaccines in development in the pharmaceutical industry, and the pharmaceutical industry bears zero liability for those vaccines even when they cause harm. And so it's a kind of a skewed situation that we face.
So tell us a little bit. You said that nutrition can keep us healthy, and I do believe that nutrition makes a huge difference. But nutrition can't fight against polio or the measles or some of these other diseases. So what do you do to prevent those?
Well, what's really interesting, Aaron, is if you look back to the 1930s, Weston Price was a dentist who traveled the world and actually practiced in Cleveland. And he found that in Cleveland, in the areas where he worked, that the tuberculosis rate, which was the biggest killer at the time in the 1930s, that the tuberculosis rate was 10 times in the impoverished areas what it was in the affluent areas. So clearly, nutrition plays a huge role. And although although we think that these things are really, really dangerous, and nobody wants to get sick. I mean, the whole idea of vaccination is a great idea, right? We want to protect ourselves from disease. But the question is it really the best way to do it? And so if you look at the areas of the world that are still stricken by these diseases, they are impoverished areas with no access to clean drinking water, healthy food, and things like that. And if you look at research that's been published in even the journal Pediatrics, which is the flagship journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics, in 2000 there was a very, very comprehensive study published which said very clearly that 90% of the decline in mortality from infectious disease in the United States occurred before the advent of either widespread use of vaccines or antibiotics. And the author said, what was the issue here? The issue was that we implemented public sanitation, clean drinking water, we got fresh food and things like that, and we got the sewage out of the streets, we got the animals out of the streets, we reduced the overcrowding, and you know what? Disease fell 90%. The incidence of it and the death rate from it. So if you look at just whooping cough, which is something that we've had a recent resurgence in, or diphtheria, which is another great one. If you look at the early 1900s, there were 139 cases of diphtheria in the United States per 100,000 population. And before the vaccine had ever been introduced, that had fallen to 14.
But we've had a surge in whooping cough because people aren't vaccinating their children for whooping cough.
Well, actually, that's what people say in the mainstream media. But if you go and listen to what the California Department of Health has said and what the CDC has said, the Centers for Disease Control, they say that the real culprit is vaccine failure. And if you look at the people who've gotten whooping cough, between 70 and 90% of those who contracted whooping cough in California and across the nation were fully vaccinated. It is now, there's a new pertussis or whooping cough vaccine in development because they recognize that the vaccine that is being used right now fails in a huge portion of recipients. In fact, children who are like 12 years old have almost no coverage within 4 years of getting the vaccine.
So you don't vaccinate at all because it's not 100%?
No, but I didn't say that. First of all, I don't say that vaccines have done zero. My point is that vaccines fail and that you can't blame the outbreak of whooping cough on the unvaccinated because it's about the vaccine failing, not the unvaccinated. And the problem is that the mainstream media goes and reports that but doesn't actually listen to what the CDC has actually said, which is that this is not because of failure to vaccinate. It's because the vaccine wanes over time. And many of these vaccines do the same.
So your argument isn't that people shouldn't get vaccinated in this particular case. It's that we need to have better regulation of the companies that are making the vaccines.
Well, I think my point is that it's not black and white. We are told that vaccines are 100% effective, and we're told that they're 100% safe. And that's not the case.
We have a break to take, and I hope that you'll stay with us over the break. Will you stay with us?
Oh, of course.
Awesome. So we're talking with Leslie Manookian. I said it right this time. Leslie Manookian, who is, we're talking about vaccines, and she is a award-winning documentary filmmaker and honorary board member of the Weston A. Price Foundation. I'm Aaron Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are KCAA on the Brink on KCAA AM 1050. We'll be right back.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
How did Denny Hastert get $1.7 million to pay hush money to a former student? I'll tell you today on Hightower Radio.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here. We just saw the biggest jump in mortgage rates in more than 25 years. So now it's more important than ever to lock in your loan with a professional who has a thorough understanding of this wild mortgage market. That pro, Steve Alador, the Loan Financial Planner from Rancho Financial. Steve is one of the top 1% of mortgage originators in the entire country. And for years, Steve has worked with me, my family members and friends, and in most cases will close your loan in 30 days or less. Time is critical if you're ready to buy or refi. No one knows where rates will go next. Learn the advantages of working with a direct lender who can fast-track your loan. Steve Alidor can calculate which program is best for you and educate you about all of your options. Call the Loan Financial Planner, Steve Alidor, at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070. Or watch Steve's free home loan webinar at loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Are your student loans making life miserable? Optimum Student Solutions can now help consolidate your federal student loans. That's right, we can help lower your monthly payment on your federal student loans. In some cases, you can lower your monthly payments in half. It doesn't matter how much you owe, even if you are in default on your federal student loans. Just call us right now and find out if you qualify for these substantial savings. We'll help you remove your default status, lower your monthly payments, and stop wage garnishments. Let our experts eliminate the confusion and find the best payment solution for you. All you have to do is make the call. If you are a teacher, nurse, police officer, firefighter, or work for a nonprofit, new federal programs are available that may have a portion of your student loan forgiven. Stop worrying and start saving. Call now, 800-375-1159. That's 800-375-1159. Get free information. Call now, 800-375-1159. That's 800-375-1159.
Here's your Money Minute with Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
If you follow the markets, you've probably been getting seasick lately. But what if I told you that market volatility can be a good thing? If you're a bargain hunter, this is your coupon. So keep your shopping list handy. If you're a long-term investor with plenty of time before retirement, the money going into your 401k each month will buy more shares when the markets are down. And if you have a good financial plan, you can relax while others worry, because that plan will carry you beyond today's headlines. Of course, you should always consider professional guidance before making any financial decisions. That's your Money Minute. I'm Mo Ansari.
For more tips on investing during market volatility and other investment topics, listen to Market Wrap weekdays at 5 p.m. on this station. For a free consultation with Mo Ansari, call 800-388-9700. That's 800-388-9700.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050. We continue our conversation with Leslie Manukian. She's an award-winning documentary producer and honorary board member with the Weston A. Price Foundation. We're talking about SB 2277. And Leslie, first of all, welcome back from the break.
Thanks so much.
And
good to be here.
It's interesting, the first part of this conversation, we were talking about the efficacy and the dangers and et cetera of vaccines. And I certainly think that we need to be having this conversation. And I will be, full disclosure, I believe that we should get our kids vaccinated.
But not for everything.
Not for everything. So, like, I'm not sure that we should be forced to have, for our kids to have, our daughters to have Gardasil. I don't know that we should, it's not an infectious disease in the same way that measles is an infectious disease. And so maybe we need to have this debate. But let's talk specifically about SB 277 and then some of the remedies or lack of remedies against these vaccine manufacturers. So if somebody does get sick or end up with Guillain-Barré syndrome or something like that. So tell us what it's like for the consumer in this environment now.
Well, the problem is that right now we have a very conflicting perspective on vaccines in that the Supreme Court has recognized that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe, and federal law recognizes in the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986 that vaccines injure and kill some recipients. And they set up a trust fund that is funded through a tax on every vaccine that's administered in the United States. So if your child does get injured, the pharmaceutical industry bears zero liability. In fact, you can't sue the pharmaceutical industry if a vaccine injures or kills you or your child or anything like that. But at the same time, so we've got these laws in place that recognize that vaccines harm some people, and yet at the same time, we're now looking with SB 277 to mandate them for all children except for homeschool children. And the question is, does that really make sense, number one? Is it really going to protect people? Is it really going to improve public health? And is that fair? I mean, would any of us think that it was okay that the tobacco companies, the cigarette companies, didn't have liability for their products? I can't imagine anybody think that that's all right.
No,
but
let
we
me
know
jump
that
in for a
for
second.
decades they lied to us and told us that cigarettes were totally safe. Even doctors told us that they were totally safe. And yet, decades later we find out that, hundreds of thousands of people are dying from cancer from cigarettes every year.
So let me ask a clarifying
we
question.
really think that things should be rectified in terms of, leveling the playing field about recognizing that they do cause harm to some people, and therefore people should have a right to choose.
And I agree. People should have a right. But let's step back here. You mentioned this trust fund. Can you explain that a little bit? So people can't sue the manufacturers of the vaccines, but people can still get some sort of compensation if there's something that's gone wrong?
Well, the compensation program was put in place in the late 1980s, and in theory, it's supposed to be a no-fault system where if your child is injured or dies after a vaccine, you can just go and apply to it and get compensated. But let's put this in perspective. If your child dies, you can get $250,000. That's literally the cap on it.
Wow.
I don't know who would value their child at $250,000. I don't think there's any compensation if your child dies,
Yeah.
So that's really challenging. But the other thing is that since the system was implemented, what's happened is that the list of what's called compensable conditions has been restricted and restricted and restricted, and it's become increasingly difficult to get compensated. And most parents, when they take their children in to get vaccinated, never even know that there is this system and that there are side effects to vaccines. So it's really a problem. And so the flip side is that in California now we're trying to mandate vaccines for all children except homeschool children. And the question is, does it really serve people? And given that we don't have vaccines for every single bug that exists, in fact, the most common things are colds and upper respiratory tract infections and things like that. Those are far more of a risk to the immunocompromised, who are supposedly the ones that this bill is trying to protect. And yet they're not going to be protected because there is nothing for that. So why are we doing this? Is it really about public health?
Although, a cold and a flu can be very problematic, and a few people will die from them. It's not like polio, and so, I think that we do need, we need to be realistic about the actual diseases themselves. And I understand that there are some side effects with these vaccines, and we certainly need to be having those discussions. Is there any movement to change the legislation to make the vaccine manufacturers accountable in a more significant way?
There actually have been several calls. There's something called the National Vaccine Information Center, NVIC.org, and they have called for the restoration of liability to the pharmaceutical industry. And we certainly, our film, greatergoodmovie.org, you can see it there. We have called for the same, and there have been several efforts, and I think that will only increase to repeal this liability protection, because why should anybody the pharmaceutical industry has paid over $19 billion in fines for fraud in the last 5 years alone.
Right.
For fraud.
We have about 30 seconds left, or 20 seconds left. Why don't you give everybody your information so that they can follow you?
Okay. We're on Facebook, Greater Good Movie. You can go to our website, greatergoodmovie.org. You can send me an email at info@greatergoodmovie.org if you want to stay in touch, or at our Facebook page. And like I say, it's not black and white. There have been 60,000 cases of polio caused by the polio vaccine in the last couple of years in India, even though we say that it's been eradicated. It's not black and white.
We are completely out of time. Leslie Manookian, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that through this process that you come back and that you give us updates as to how this SB 277 is moving forward. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we've been speaking with Leslie Manookian. She is an award-winning documentary producer of the Greater Good documentary, the Greater Good movie. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are time for a break. We are on the brink here on KCAA AM 1050.
Till I see what this could be eternity or just a week. Our chemistry is
Desperate? Nothing to do? Just like some abuse?
Oh, God!
Well, then tune into The Poor Man weekdays at 2 p.m. on KCAA 1050 AM.
California headline news. State fire and emergency management officials warning that the severe drought could have a big impact on the ability to fight fires this summer. Lawns the new focus of fire prevention.
When they die, because we are not going to water them, we need to maintain them and remove the dead material so it does not become part of the flammable material around your home.
Ken Pimlaw with CAL FIRE saying the drought has affected the state's water supply from the mountains to the reservoirs. Protesters continue to demand the firing of LA's police chief over the shooting last summer of Ezell Ford. Members of the group Black Lives Matter surrounding Mayor Eric Garcetti's home, confronting him as he went to his car.
One of the protesters was tackled by a member of the mayor's detail.
Protesters demonstrating over news that the police commission is likely today to find 2 officers justified in the shooting of Ford, who was unarmed last August. Geico weather clouding up in many areas today with a chance for moisture. Mid-80s in Southern California, low 90s in Sacramento. Jeff Scott, California News.
The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. It's as American as apple pie. However, over the last 7 years or so, Americans who can't use a tax return or pay stub to qualify have been shut out. Until now, Kcaa-Mornings is happy to announce its new 30-year fixed-rate mortgage up to $3 million for good credit borrowers who can't or won't provide their tax returns or pay stubs. Your payment will never change. Until now, these programs have only been available as some kind of adjustable, and you know which way those adjustables will eventually go. So call 844-890-CASH for all of your 30-year fixed-rate mortgage needs, purchase or refinance. You can even pull up to $500,000 in equity out of your house for any reason whatsoever. Remember, that's 844-890-CASH to find out what today's 30-year fixed rate is with no tax returns. You'll be shocked at how low these rates are.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. Equal housing lender. Call 866-900-8744 for terms and restrictions. California Department of Business Oversight. Residential Mortgage Lender. Law License 4131083. NMLS 128231.
Hey, this is Steve Sanchez, and do you know in 2007, I went off to the doctor for a basic checkup, and he informed me, Steve, you got plaque built up around your heart, and you're going to need stents. I informed him, with no offense, doc, I need a second opinion. I go off to a naturopathic doctor, and he introduces me to something called Zango. It's a juice made of the whole mangosteen fruit. You know, the mangosteen fruit has been used for centuries for healing. So, hey, what do I have to lose? I tried it. 3 months later, I go back to my cardiologist, no plaque, no stents, and I'm proud to say 7.5 years later, I'm stent-free. I want to turn you on to Zango because it's the only true 100% mangosteen fruit juice. It's patented. In fact, the Mayo Clinic is paying attention because they're doing an extensive study because they cannot ignore all the testimonials around the world. I want to give you a free sample of the Zango juice today. Simply call 888-309-5656. That's 888-309-5656 for your free mangosteen juice sample today from the company called Zango.
Do you have a broken window or rock chip on your vehicle that needs repair? Give us a call at HM Auto Glass, 951-858-5190. HM Auto Glass is your locally owned and operated auto glass specialist, offering low cost and high quality auto glass repair and replacement. We also work with all major insurance companies and offer free mobile service. So call us 951-858-5190. That number again is 951-858-5190.
Financial words of wisdom with Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
Staying out of the market is the most dangerous thing you can do for your financial future.
If you continue to spend like a drunken sailor, you're going to run out of money. This is not poker. This is your financial future.
It's helpful financial food for thought on your drive home with a host who tells it like it is. Market Wrap with Mo Ansari. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on Kcaa 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Ruth. Just want you to know, you can now see pictures, listen to audios, and see videos of Kcaa 1050 AM on Instagram.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show here on Kcaa AM 1050. And I'm so excited about our next interview. We're going to be, welcome to the show. Bina Kamlani, and she is the longtime editor for Saul Bellow. And Saul Bellow is, I would think, North America's most awarded, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong, most awarded author of the 20th century. He was Canadian-born, but he's an American writer, and for his literary contributions, he was awarded the Pulitzer Prize, the Nobel Prize for Literature, and the National Medal of Arts. He's the only writer to win the National Book Award for Fiction 3 times, and he received the Foundation's Lifetime Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters in 1990. Bina, welcome to the show.
Hello, Erin. Hello, Tobin.
Hello.
So excited to have you on. So June 10th is 2015 marks the centennial of his birth. Why don't you talk about Saul Bellow and his life?
Well, it's a very exciting moment for us. We've got musicians who are going to be playing some of his favorite pieces from Mozart. We've got A.M. Holmes, Colin McCann, several people who will be reading from his works. This is on June the 10th. So if any of you are in the neighborhood, please come to Housing Works. Our festivities begin at 7. So perhaps you can make it. What would you like to know about his work?
Well, so you all are going to be releasing 2 of his works, 2 of the Nobel Prize winners' most important novels, Herzog and Ravelstein.
Ravelstein.
And beautiful new editions. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, one of the things we're trying to do is to reach a younger audience with our Bellow books. There's already a great deal of interest in his writing, and what we're trying to do is to give our books new covers, give them a new look so that when they go out there, people will look at them again. The covers are much more in tune with the zeitgeist of our times, and so we're hoping that this will introduce a whole new readership to Bellow. What we've been trying to do is to get new people to introduce them and write these fabulous introductions. We've got Gary Steingart for Ravelstein. There are a whole list of new people: Joseph O'Neill, Adam Kirsch, Nicole Krauss. They've all done new introductions to these books, and I think we're hoping that it will all resonate much more with younger readers.
So, he was a 20th century writer, and how does his work, how will it translate for younger readers in the 21st century?
Well, I think the most wonderful thing about Bellow's work is that it's so universal. someone, a misguided intellectual in Hyderabad, India, or in Kiev, or a housewife can pick him up, and there will be passages that will resonate with her way of being, her questions in life. It depends what you read for, really. If you're reading just for entertainment, that's a different matter altogether. But if you're reading to know more about what it's like to be human, what are the struggles in common that we all face, how do we deal with them, what is the gap between, living life with what you've got and expectations of you that are placed on you by others. These questions are eternal. They go to the heart of what it is to be human. So I think, I think that people are labeled as perhaps difficult writers to read, or intellectual, or too cerebral, but and in some cases that might be true, but with Bellow that is not so, because he goes to the things that are common to us all. You see what I mean?
Yes.
These are the questions that we're all asking of ourselves, of life, of what we want from it, of how we fulfill our own expectations of ourselves, of how we delude ourselves even into thinking that we can meet those expectations. So I think these questions are universal ones.
Now, he did not grow up a wealthy man. He grew up in a neighborhood of need, so, shall we say. Talk about him, his life, and the kind of man he was.
Well, he grew up in Chicago. If you read Herzog, so much of his early childhood is in there. He grew up one of 4 children in a family. His father was a very well-read man, but he also, I think, tried a lot of different things to make it work for the family. And it was a difficult time. It was, in Herzog anyway, there is this incredible scene with the father coming home, and he's been on a bootlegging expedition, and he's been robbed and beaten up, and he comes into the kitchen, and of course this is a small kitchen. It's an immigrant kitchen. It's a place where proximity and intimacy is possible. And so he comes in, and the children are looking at him, and he's been robbed, and he turns his clothes inside out and then tatters, and they're all crying because he has to feed these 4 people. He has to take care of them. And there's his sister, his rich sister, who actually made it in America because her husband was a scrap dealer and knew how to parlay his wares. She looks at him in contempt and says, "Sell the piano. Send your children out to work. Why do they have to go to such a good school? Why does she have to have piano lessons?" And these, again, you see, these are the universal questions that I'm talking about.
Sure.
So something of his own backdrop is in there, and and I think he lived close to that the gristle of life. He saw it firsthand, and it's carried through. He was never complete, he was never enthralled to all these, great awards and things that they were important, but they didn't cloud his vision. They didn't stop him. I mean, I think he said that somewhere. He said that, what he feared was losing a sense of the common life, because that is where it all was. He said, I'm paraphrasing here, as every writer knows, that's where it is, in the common life,
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And I think that is his strength. It's that incredible street smartness, which comes from living so close to that gristle, as I described it, for lack of a better word. But having seen that, and then the sophistication of his knowledge, his vast treasure trove of knowledge, the way he was able to access it to make his point, so it's a combination of all of that, and the universal truths that are in there, so that is Bello for you, and I think for that reason he will continue to be read forever and ever. We just have to find new ways of reaching new audiences.
Indeed. We have to take a break. Can you wait with us while we take a quick break?
Of course.
Wonderful. We are talking to Bina Kamlani. She is the longtime editor, was a longtime editor for Saul Bello's work, and Penguin is going to be releasing two of his beautiful, wonderful stories. And so we'll continue the conversation after the break. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink on KCAA AM 1050.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
The Osgood File, sponsored by BASF, enabling its customers to meet the current and future needs of society. BASF. We create chemistry. This is Dave Ross, and for Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network. The investigation of that homegrown plot to kill police officers in Boston continues, but this much we know. Without extensive cell phone surveillance, the suspects would probably have gone ahead with it. More after this from Charlie. Osama Abdullah Rahim was licensed as a security officer in Miami, but on Tuesday he was shot and killed as he brandished a knife at police and FBI agents on a Boston street. And while the investigation continues, it's clear that cell phone surveillance was the key to unraveling the plot. CBS correspondent Jeff Pegues says the FBI recorded one conversation with a man named David Wright, which indicated they were plotting a beheading.
Rahim told Wright, "I just got myself a nice little tool." Rahim then told Wright something was like thinking with your head on your chest, an apparent reference to beheadings carried out by ISIS.
Sources also tell CBS News the suspects discussed an attack on Pamela Geller, the organizer of last month's Draw Mohammed contest in Garland, Texas. But soon, small plots like these could become harder to detect. Even as these recordings were coming out, Congress was hearing warnings that radicals have started using encryption to make phone surveillance useless.
We're past going dark in certain instances. We are dark.
Assistant FBI Director Michael Steinbach is asking Congress to pass a law that would allow law enforcement to crack those private messages.
We are imploring Congress to help us seek legal remedies towards that, as well as asking the companies to provide technological solutions to help that.
The suspect in the Boston plot, David Wright, certainly didn't want the FBI getting into his friend's smartphone. He's heard on one call saying, quote, "Throw it down to the ground. Make sure it's completely destroyed." The Osgood File, Dave Ross on the CBS Radio Network.
We are producers. We are crafters of quality hay and forage. There's an art to harvesting the best hay and forage, and it starts with the right equipment. From dependable disc mowers and mower conditioners to efficient rakes and tedders, round balers and bale wrappers, Kubota has engineered a full line of field-proven hay tools you can trust to perform season after season. Visit your local Kubota dealer today during the More Power to You sales event for low-rate, long-term financing. For all your hay tool needs, we are Kubota.
West Coast Auto of Montclair is the 2015 top-rated pre-owned dealer in California, offering a service department that surpasses expectations in every single way. And while you're there, browse West Coast Auto's extensive lot of best-in-class pre-owned vehicles.
You're getting the best-in-class vehicles with financing options like 0% down and no payments for 90 days. Visit westcoastauto.com or call 9099-million.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, Just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
This is KCAA.
Welcome back. This is Aaron Brinker.
And this is Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050. We continue our conversation with Bina Kamlani, and she is was a longtime editor for Saul Bellow. And at Saul Bellow, Penguin Classic Books is celebrating the centennial of his birth, June 10th, 2015. And so we're talking about this award-winning author. Welcome back, Bina.
Thank you.
And so I know that that Penguin Books is having the celebration at the Housing Works bookstore and cafe, and of course that's in New York. Are you doing any events on the West Coast in Los Angeles or San Francisco?
I don't think so, no. I wish we were, and perhaps this is something to think about for the future. We should be doing something in Los Angeles. And if we do, you'll be the first to know.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so I know that the Penguin is going to be re-releasing the Herzog and Ravelstein. And so where can people buy those books? Are there special editions? Is there something that, with the centennial, is there going to be something about Saul Bellow's life in the books? How is the centennial being noted?
Well, they have a repackaging, and the Gary Steingart is a new introduction to the Penguin. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover. It takes off from the hardcover, but the introduction is absolutely incredible. It really gets to the heart of what the book is about. I mean, this is what we're doing. We're putting all these books of Bellows out there in new packaging, and it's really, really good packaging. These covers really pop. Where can you buy them? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes, I mean they'll be everywhere. They'll be in bookstores. And I hope they'll display them prominently. They should. And of course, word is spreading. I think these covers are making an impression, and so there will be more talk about it in the future. I'm pretty sure.
Now, is there an audio book version available?
Not that I know of. Of Ravelstein, you mean?
Yeah, of either Herzog or Ravelstein.
I think we have something, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I didn't actually check on the audio versions, but I'll find out.
Los Angelinos spent a lot of time in their car.
Okay, of course, which is why it would be, yes. I'm sure there is something. I don't have a copy of it here, but I'll check, and we'll definitely let you know.
Awesome. Well, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on. I have to say, I have to admit, and I'm ashamed to admit, I have not read Saul Bellow's works, but now since doing talking with you and doing the prep for the show, I can't wait to read his works.
I am so happy to hear that. You'll come away feeling as if you somehow got to a treasure trove, and it's all yours.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Bina, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to Penguin Books for bringing Saul Bellow to the new generation of readers.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
So have a wonderful afternoon, and please join us again if whatever you want to talk about with books.
And I've got a friend in Chicago right now, so I'm going to make sure I text him to go to some of these events.
Well, the event is in New York.
It's in New York. The one I read was about in Chicago.
Oh, okay. I guess there's one in Chicago, too.
No?
There is one in Chicago. Yes, there is one, actually.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, the Facebook page.
All right.
One in Chicago.
Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's wonderful. I can't wait to read his works.
Yeah.
I mean, because these kind of transcendent themes of the kind of the human condition and what's important in life, and it's timeless.
I agree. It sounds fascinating, and I hope that they get a good response on this re-release of the book.
I do
and,
too.
The books, should I say?
The books, Ravelstein and Herzog. Both German names.
Yes.
Just, German words. So I know that you've done a lot of research on stories of the day, Tobin.
I have.
Do you have a favorite that you want to cover first?
I do, actually. And, the one that you actually just popped up on there was the Michigan boy. Yesterday I tried to stay real positive, and this is one I actually found yesterday and we didn't get to. And this is, of course, mine's not popping up now on my computer.
A 15-year-old Michigan boy on Sunday completed a 3-day, 57-mile walk across the state carrying his younger brother on his back as part of a campaign to raise awareness for cerebral palsy. Hunter Gandhi started a long trek with little brother Braden, who suffers from cerebral palsy, on Friday morning in Lambertville, Michigan, an unincorporated community near the Ohio border. The brothers reached the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor at about 4 p.m. Sunday, and then joined by the final leg by family and friends. The walk, which made national headlines, marks a second long-distance march for the brothers. Last year, they walked to Ann Arbor from their home in Temperance, Michigan. Hunter Gandhi says the walk is not intended as a fundraiser, but rather an awareness campaign about the debilitating condition. During the hike, though, he rallied support to raise $200,000 towards the construction of a handicapped accessible playground at Brandon's school. Sorry, Brandon, not Braden. The play place would include rubber flooring, ramps instead of chairs, and other accommodations to make it easier for kids like his brother to enjoy recess. The boy's mother, Danielle Gandhi, said all 4 of her children have taken part in the effort. Extremely proud of them, as well as their sister Kerrigan and little brother Kellen, and even more so of their group of friends who have walked this entire journey to show support, Gandhi said in a message to Reuters. Love these kids.
Isn't that wonderful? We talk about the importance of family and giving back to the community, and this just encompasses all of that.
Sure, absolutely.
And when you see someone struggling in life, you want to help, and sometimes people don't know how. And when it's a family member, just the act of walking with his brother, carrying his brother like that, the physical closeness. What a wonderful bond that must be.
Yes.
And then to be able to raise that kind of money, which was not the intent of this, and then to fix up the playground so that his brother has a place to play.
Well, and
I'm almost in tears. I'm seriously, this is...
It's a phenomenal story. And here's the thing, too. It's you said you want to know how to help. How you help is you create environments where differently able people can live their lives. Not that you do for them, but they have modifications so they can do for themselves. Because every single one of us wants to be independent. Every single one of us, it wants to be able to live their lives on their terms and according to what they want. Everybody wants that freedom and that sense of dignity that comes with that. And so we need to create environments where they can do for themselves.
I agree. And just one of those stories, I love it.
So we're down to just a few minutes left in the show, and I want to remind everybody that the Sunset Rotary Club in San Bernardino is having their 10-man triathlon, and it's a 5K. It's a triathlon. There's a kids triathlon. They invite people. There's Possibilities is a major sponsor, and so they invite people who are differently able to come on out and enjoy the festivities and enjoy the event. It's always the last Sunday in June, which is the 28th this year, out at the beautiful campus of Cal State San Bernardino. We're having a promotion. You can go to active.com and register. Use the coupon, not code, but coupon, KCAA, all caps, KCAA, and you could be entered in a drawing to have your race fee waived. Now, you still have to pay the active.com fee, but you'll have your race fee waived. It is a whole lot of fun. You bring your kids. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful, once we get some freebies handed out here, that we'll be able to announce those on air and share the people who got those got their fees covered.
Well, the promotion just started yesterday, so there's no winners yet.
No, I know, but this is it's a cool deal. This is a really cool deal. It's a great event. And, if you're a listener of ours and you go and use that coupon, right, KCAA.
You're wishing you had a bike, don't you?
I'm wishing I had a bike. Maybe I can go borrow a bike or something.
You could borrow a bike.
Maybe someone will loan me a bike.
But how long has it been since you've been on a bike?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I mean, you could do the
while.
10K, obviously. And the bike actually is, the bike trail is really hard as you go
uphill.
up Devil's Canyon and come back down. And
So I watched a couple years ago, and some of those bicycles actually got off their bikes and walked them up the hill.
because it was
just too steep to ride.
Yep. So we are out of time.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to post links. Sunset Rotary 10-man triathlon, 5K run, and kids triathlon. It is the 28th of June out at Cal State San Bernardino. Raises money for all kinds of local causes and international causes like polio now. If you use the coupon code KCAA in all caps, you'll be entered in a drawing to get a free race fee. So get your race fee refunded. So got to check it out. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. We are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Have a fantastic day, everybody.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
I'm Tanya Hansen, CNBC Radio. Campbell's Soup is continuing to move into the packaged fresh and organic foods market. The company is buying refrigerated salsa maker Garden Fresh Gourmet for $231 million. Garden Fresh Gourmet, which also makes hummus, dips, and tortilla chips, will become part of the Campbell Fresh unit. Burlington Stores plans to pay its workers more. The retailer says it'll raise the minimum wage for employees with 6 months or more of service to $9 an hour. The company also reported same-store sales that were well below estimates. Yoga lovers are sweet on Lululemon. Lululemon Athletica reported better than expected earnings for at least the 8th quarter in a row. The yoga wear retailer also raised its full-year earnings forecast. Data on job openings and labor turnover is due out this morning. Job openings are expected to have increased. Small businesses are optimistic. An industry report shows confidence increased to a 5-month high last month. Tanya Hansen, CNBC Radio.
Have you had trouble with online dating? This is eHarmony founder Dr. Neil Clark Warren. We've created a new solution, EH+. EH+ combines the personal attention of a matchmaker with eHarmony's extensive pool of great singles. EH+ gives you hand-selected matches and freedom from being online. Get started today. Call 855-930-LOVE. That's 855-930-LOVE.